First of all, thank you for sharing that with me. Like, I didn't know that. When I look back now, it's obvious that you were having a hard time, and I felt like you hated me.
Chemistry is key to a film or TV show's cast, but it's a difficult mix to create. Actors can often end up hating each other, and it can show in the final product. It doesn't matter if they're supposed to be playing romantic partners, family members, or school friends. Behind-the-scenes drama can ruin their relationship. It can also ruin the project they're working on. Keep watching to learn about celebrities who utterly hated their co-stars and the reasons why.
It was just like it was a real family on set, like as normal that, or as cliche that may sound, it really, really was. And we all were such a nice little tight-knit group on set. It was amazing.
Casey Wilson versus Tim Allen. Gone Girl star and Saturday Night Live alum Casey Wilson may disagree with that sentiment about filming The Santa Clauses, a sequel series to Disney's hit Santa Claus movies. She called Tim Allen a bitch on her Happy Endings podcast, fittingly titled Bitch Sesh. She claims he never made eye contact with her or said anything to her. He made it an uncomfortable experience and even claimed it was the worst experience with a co-star ever. She joined on as sort of a favor. Her friend was the producer and her children loved the original movies. She thought it would be a fun project to give to the children out there. That was also why she didn't speak about her experience for so long. She didn't want to ruin the magic for them. Casey remembers one particular home invasion scene where her character was supposed to think that Tim's Santa was a burglar. She threw props at him and screamed to make it believable, but apparently she went a bit too far for him. He abruptly stopped and walked over to the nearby producer. She could hear him whisper, "You gotta tell her to stop stepping on my lines." The producer then sheepishly relayed the message to her. Casey feels like everyone in the cast and crew was walking on eggshells around Tim the entire time. He wouldn't interact with the others and announced with a single word he was leaving set for the day. She got along better with his stand-in. Worst of all, a random crew member commented that Casey had been seeing Tim on, quote, a good day. Alexa Nikolas versus Jamie Lynn Spears. Alexa Nikolas claims that the set of teen show Zoey 101 was very toxic. She also claims the main reason behind that was the bullying from Jamie Lynn Spears.
Basically what happened was Victoria Justice and Jamie Lynn Spears were kind of getting very close out of nowhere and started to replicate the same dynamic that Dana and Zoey had in the first season. And on the last episode of the second season, it was just so bad at that point. Like, I just wasn't invited to anything, and I was totally an outcast. And I just got, as a child, that just like, you're just so sad at that point.
Yeah. She says that she tried to befriend everyone, but couldn't make any headway with Jamie Lynn. She even got the cold shoulder when they were filming. It escalated until they didn't interact at all. When they did, she got only harsh comments. Alexa says Jamie Lynn made everyone else feel like they also had to behave the same way as her. She called out other on-set bullies, including Victoria Justice. Kristen Herrera was let go after a single season after it escalated to the point where she pushed Alexa into a rock. The women weren't the only ones misbehaving. At least one of the boys on Zoey 101 took advantage of the toxic work environment. Jonah Hill slammed her against a door and shoved his tongue down her throat when he was 24 and she was only 16. Worst of all, it was a family affair. Alexa remembers it all too well.
And Jamie ran to the back of the room, like really quickly. And my stomach kind of dropped because like, why is she running into the back of the room? And then Brittany locked the door. And I just stood there. And I remember just kind of like backing up slowly. And there were like, a couch area with a chair behind me. And I remember sitting down and Brittany just kind of started yelling at me and telling me, that I'm not going to work again, basically. And that, she doesn't like what her sister is going through. And it was just like, it was a total blackout moment for me. I don't remember every bit and piece of it because I just remember seeing like the pop idol of my childhood like yelling at me and telling me I wasn't going to have a career again.
Brittany later apologized via Twitter, saying she didn't understand the truth of what was going on. Alexa said it was healing to read that and responded with an appreciative tweet of her own. Jamie Lynn's own memoir never mentioned Alexa by name or offered any sort of apology. She portrayed herself as less of a bully and more of a victim. What she definitely was a victim of was the toxic culture Dan Schneider created at Nickelodeon, which other stars like Jeanette McCurdy have come out about, and the documentary Quiet on Set revealed. Rebel Wilson versus Sasha Baron Cohen. Rebel's allegations against her most hated co-star were redacted in versions of her memoir published in the UK and her home country of Australia. They simply mention, quote, the worst experience of her professional life.
As you sit here today, are you glad that you included that?
Yeah, I mean, that was something that happened 10 years ago, and obviously I've moved past it now, but it was my worst professional experience, and just feeling like humiliated and degraded as a person, I thought it's worth sharing in the book because there's probably a lot of people out there that have had the same experiences. And
she said she hoped writing about her experience would be cathartic and remove the shame she feels about putting up with it for so long. She also hopes sharing her story will reduce the amount of similar ones that happen in Hollywood. The allegations appear in the full chapter titled Sasha Baron Cohen and Other Assholes. They focus on his behavior during their filming of 2016's The Brothers Grimsby. They met at a dinner party in 2013. She called him and asked him to play her girlfriend in the raunchy comedy, which he co-wrote, starred in, and produced. Rebel says it all went downhill from there. He'd constantly suggest that she do nude scenes. She denied the requests and brushed it off at first. Then a production assistant said they needed to film another scene. When she got there, he pulled his pants down and said, "Okay, now I want you to stick your finger up my ass." She was afraid, but could only think to compromise. She said she, quote, slapped him on the ass and improvised a few lines as the character and then left for the day as soon as possible. Rebel told her sister Liberty about the experience afterwards. She also called her agent, who encouraged her to try to be professional and finish the film. She tried to laugh off any awkward moments, including sex scenes. The terrible experience was all for nothing because The Brothers Grimsby was a major flop. Rebel feels it was karma enough for what happened. She also refused to do any promotion for the film. Sasha and his team have strongly denied the claims and call them demonstrably false. They claim the scene she mentioned was in the script, which she approved, and she was never forced to do anything lewd. They also say they have evidence to prove it, including documents, footage, and eyewitness accounts. That's why the UK and Australian versions were redacted. Printing falsehoods is illegal there. Whatever the truth was, she said that no amount of money could ever convince her to work with him again.
You're the one, you're here for the duration, right? You love the show, you're gonna stay if it keeps on going 7 years, 9 years.
Yep.
Yeah. Tell us why.
Why?
Why? Because some of the other women are like...
No, why would I want to keep a job that I love and a character that I love with people that I love? That's so ridiculous.
Nicolle, Sheridan versus Teri Hatcher. Despite this sunny attitude, feuds are part of the allure of a show like Desperate Housewives. There were a few cast members who got under everyone's skin more than all the others. Teri was the resident ice queen who wouldn't talk to anyone. Nicolle had a history of being late and messing up lines. The two women had a major feud with each other. Nicolle even once called Teri, quote, the meanest woman in the world. The drama between the whole cast was highlighted in a Vanity Fair photo shoot from 2005. It had the fitting caption, "You wouldn't believe what it took just to get this photo." What it took was arguments over costumes, refusals to shoot if Nicolle was in the middle, and more drama. Rose McGowan versus Alyssa Milano. Rose was one of the few actresses who didn't want to return to a successful show. Seeing Charmed renewed made her cry, but not tears of joy. Why? Her co-star, Alyssa Milano. The show was about a sisterhood of witches who banded together to use their magic. The atmosphere on set was anything but magical. There was also beef with a third sister, Holly Combs, but the feud between Rose and Alyssa were the worst. There are even rumors that Alyssa had Rose fired and replaced in the later seasons in 2001, but these have not been confirmed. They've continued to fight over the years online. They argue over everything from party divides to the Me Too movement. Alyssa hopes they can reconcile someday. She still speaks to Holly, but not Rose. She does admit she's proud of the legacy the show left behind as what may be the, quote, longest-running female-driven hour-long show in history.
I will just say that I'm sad, and I don't think it's really that I'm sad for me or for my life or how it does or does not affect my life. I'm the most sad for the fans. I'm the most sad that a show that has meant so much to so many people has been tarnished by a toxicity that is still, to this day, almost a quarter of a century later, still happening. And I'm sad that people can't move past it. I'm sad that we all can't just celebrate the success of a show that meant so much to all of us.
Lucy Liu versus Bill Murray. Lucy and Bill clashed on the set of 2000's Charlie's Angels. He would throw violent insults her way. She called the language inexcusable and unacceptable and said, quote, "I stood up for myself and I don't regret it." They were rehearsing a scene he didn't know had been rewritten. She had little control over it because she was the last one cast, but he was away at a family gathering and had no say over the matter. When he found out about the rewrites, Bill was livid. Lucy has never specified exactly what he said to her, only saying he threw a string of insults her way. She couldn't even believe he was speaking to her at first, until the tantrum became a one-on-one put-down. It reminded her of an unfortunate moment from her childhood. Her own mother had been similarly talked down to by an ignorant salesperson. Bill was already a major name and Lucy was starting out. The media was on his side at first, giving coverage of the event a sexist slant and making her seem difficult to work with. Bill told his side in the Times of London in 2009 and said she had behaved unprofessionally. Any rumors of feuds between her and Charlie's Angels co-stars Drew Barrymore and Cameron Diaz were completely false. They all not only got along, but came to her defense. Drew recalled the incident in her talk show in 2021. She remembers Lucy's response and how they stood up for her.
She literally said, "I do not accept that kind of behavior from you." And we all supported her and backed her up, and we moved forward.
Lucy finds no comfort or validation after hearing other actors have had similar experiences with Bill since. Gina Davis also said he verbally berated her on set in front of the crew during 1990's Quick Change. Bill was even fired from the recent movie Being Mortal due to allegations of sexual misconduct. Lucy does connect with them and is glad they spoke out. It's also helpful for her to not be the only one, but she's saddened for them. Bill and Lucy have even managed to reconcile. She says she has nothing against him and has seen him at SNL reunions. That doesn't mean she'll ever accept being verbally attacked again. The Suicide Squad cast versus Jared Leto. Playing Batman's nemesis, the Joker, seems to have a habit of making actors go crazy. That's true of Suicide Squad's Jared Leto, and the rest of the cast didn't appreciate it. He got into the role more than anyone since Heath Ledger. He sent the cast a dead pig at the first table read. He sent other strange gifts such as anal beads, live rats, and condoms. He even refused to be referred to by his name on set. Will Smith, who played Deadshot, never spoke a word to him for the entire 6 months of filming. Scott Eastwood had met him before Suicide Squad, but was afraid to approach him. Director David Ayer admits that his methods are intense, but feels they work. Even the public was subjected to his method acting.
And finally, I can't unhear the Joker's laugh, which I hear that you tried out in public in Toronto. Just to gauge that reaction, I think I would go bright red in public. Do you not embarrass easily?
I don't embarrass I think as an actor, you kind of throw your shame out the window, a long time ago. But yeah, I did because I think the Joker's laugh is not just a laugh. He's not laughing because he's just, thinks something's funny. Sometimes he's laughing to manipulate or to terrorize. And so I wanted a laugh that really got under people's skin.
Jared said there was a method to his madness. He wanted to break down any walls between the cast because, quote, the Joker is somebody who doesn't really respect things like personal space or boundaries. Samantha Marie Ware versus Lea Michele. Samantha left college studying to be a music teacher to audition for The Lion King. That got her the role as Nala in the Las Vegas production. She continued to get theater roles, including The Book of Mormon on Broadway and the Chicago production of Hamilton. Glee, the popular school musical show, was her first TV gig. She was a longtime fan and happy to join in season 6. Her performance of Janelle Monáe's Tightrope blew fans away. The problem was her castmates. She'd come up against a notorious diva, Lea Michele. She said it was clear from day one that she didn't like her. The silent treatment, stares, and a passive-aggressive attitude followed. Lea even threatened Samantha's job in front of the entire cast and crew. She may have unintentionally done something off camera to offend the diva. There was one scene where she laughed off camera. Lea looked at her and angrily said, "I'm going to shit in your wig." An apology wasn't enough because it seemed like Lea only wanted to change how she was perceived.
This is bigger than just between you and I. Like, you shouldn't just be apologizing to me. Do you know what I mean?
Samantha tried to talk it out with her, but got put down. She never reported the behavior to the studio, and when she tried to say something, nothing happened. Samantha eventually spoke up in a tweet where she admitted that Lea made her first TV gig a living hell. It opened the floodgates for other stories from co-stars like Yvette Nicole Brown, Alex Newell, and Dabier Snell. She only sang a few songs on Glee, but has had roles on shows like Barry, Chicago Med, God Friended Me, and NCIS New Orleans, as well as What If. She's also starred in web series like Margot vs. Lily. The controversy lost Lea some work, such as an endorsement deal with HelloFresh. Her reputation as a diva never died down, but she did eventually get a role in her character Rachel Berry's dream musical, Funny Girl. Chevy Chase versus everyone. Chevy clashed with his SNL co-stars. Will Ferrell even allegedly called him the worst host of all time. He and Bill Murray almost got into a fist fight over comments about his marriage to Jacqueline Carlin. They were in John Belushi's dressing room, and he broke it up before anything serious happened. It didn't teach Chevy his lesson about watching what you say on camera. Chevy insulted Robert Downey Jr.'s late father when he guest starred on the show. Despite the success it's given him, he doesn't think fondly of it now. He insulted the current version of SNL publicly in a 2018 interview with the Washington Post. Pete Davidson, who's gone on record to say he dislikes Chase, also said that was disrespectful to SNL creator Lorne Michaels. Chevy's biggest feud was probably with his co-stars in Community. He was cast as Pierce Hawthorne in the hit comedy, but was fired after racist remarks and slurs towards co-star Donald Glover. They have since made up. He did get in a fist fight with another member. Joel McHale has voiced his dislike for him in the press and even gave him a section in his 2016 memoir, Thanks for the Money. It detailed a step-by-step guide on how to fight Chevy Chase. Joel even once dislocated his shoulder. Chevy and show creator Dan Harmon have had a long-standing feud since then. The comedian doesn't think the show was funny enough. Chevy doesn't seem to have much regret for the offense he's caused.
When you read that stuff, when people say, Chevy's been a jerk, are those unfounded cheap shots?
I guess you'd have to ask them. I don't give a crap.
Sophia Loren versus Marlon Brando. Marlon Brando was a larger-than-life star with a larger-than-life personality. It took an equally powerful co-star to stand up for him. He had feuds with actors like Frank Sinatra, Val Kilmer, Al Pacino, and Maria Schneider. It was Sophia Loren who finally put him in his place. She was a major beauty who had enough sex appeal to attract any man, even if she didn't realize it.
When I started to be 14, 15, my body started to mold nicely. Develop, I think. And but I never thought. I mean, in Pozzuoli, my little hometown, you spoke about sex appeal. They don't even know what you were talking about, including me.
Marlon was a known womanizer, and he groped her during the filming of 1967's A Countess from Hong Kong. She described it in her memoir, writing, quote, "All of a sudden he put his hands on me. I turned in all tranquility and blew in his face like a cat stroked the wrong way and said, 'Don't you ever dare to do that again. Never again.' He shrank away like a punished child at her disapproving gaze. He never did do it again, but she found it difficult to work with him after that. He had a similar experience after being yelled at by Charlie Chaplin on the set of the same film. He'd been late, and his voice suddenly got small after he got a talking to. Kim Cattrall versus Sarah Jessica Parker. The story of Sex and the City is long, winding, and full of drama. So is that of the feud between two of its major stars. Kim admitted in 2004 that money was part of the reason the show ended. Reports stated that she and Sara had been battling all along for power and money. Sara was made executive producer in season 2. That raised her salary to $300,000. Kim tried to negotiate for more money. The girls were reportedly offended and wouldn't sit with her at meals. She was then found sitting alone at the 2004 Emmys. Kim said they all had separate lives, but Sara said they were all friends and no one should have gotten angry with her for wanting more money. Marie Claire then asked Kim if she was the reason the first Sex and the City movie hadn't been made yet. She said it was best that they waited because she was going through difficult times in her life before it came out. The show's creator, Darren Star, commented on all the drama. He said that it's impossible to completely fake the chemistry the women had on screen. An article in 2009 claimed Kim and Sara weren't speaking, but they squashed it. Sara said she never would have done the first Sex and the City movie without her, and Kim noted that the world seems to only want to watch women fight. They kept trying to quell the gossip until the third movie. Rumors said it was canceled because of demands Kim made. She said the only demand she made was to not be in it. She also didn't appear in the follow-up series, and just like that, except for a brief cameo. Although it ends the characters' friendships, Sara describes it as,
"It's this really nice, quick little phone call that just feels so normal and just is a perfect portrait of the longevity of that friendship and what it means and the ease in which it exists."
Kim said in October 2017 that the on-air friends were never close in real life, saying Sara, quote, could have been nicer. She even went so far as to call her cruel and a hypocrite in 2018 after she offered condolences after the death of her brother. Sara tried to deny any feud or harm towards them. She was heartbroken to hear Kim say they'd never been friends after being tied together by such an important professional experience. Janet Hubert versus Will Smith. Janet played Aunt Viv on the first 3 seasons of the show that shot Will Smith to fame, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. She was replaced by Daphne Maxwell Reid in '93. She decided to leave instead of accepting a raw deal. She wasn't allowed to work anywhere while on the show. That also cut her salary, and she had a new baby to support and an out-of-work husband. She felt banished from the show, and she was told it was Will's doing. They had had a rocky relationship, and she felt he had banished her. She also believes Alfonso Ribeiro, who played Carlton, was partially to blame as well. Sadly, it gave Janet a reputation as a difficult actress. She lost her reputation, her family, and career because of it. Janet at one point said she'd never appear with Will again after such a major slight. She said she'd never do a reunion with him. The family did come back together lovingly years later. They joined together for the show's 30th anniversary reunion special on HBO Max. Most of it was a behind-the-scenes look at the show, but it also helped heal the feud. Will and Janet had a candid conversation about the friction between them.
That I was going through a lot at home.
Right.
You didn't know. You guys didn't know. Very abusive marriage.
You know, I have children.
Yeah.
I've been divorced and I have a second marriage, and I can see now the level of pain and the level of struggle that it was for you just to show up every day.
She was trying to hide a difficult home life while pregnant. He apologized for not responding more sensitively and making her time on set more difficult than it needed to be. He said he would have done it differently today and that he couldn't celebrate the show's legacy without recognizing her part in it. Tyrese Gibson versus James Franco. Tyrese and James appeared in 2006's Annapolis together. It was a Navy drama that was a flop with audiences and critics, with a 10% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. It's also notable for causing a major feud. Tyrese claims that, like many feuds, it was the result of method acting. James went a bit too deep into his role. He actually hit Tyrese during a choreographed fight scene more than once. He repeatedly asked James to lighten up, but James never did. The fisticuffs even forced filming to end for a whole day at one point. The beef also came up in interviews.
So if you really had to throw down with Tyrese, what would happen? Tough fight.
James apologized after the filming ended. He admitted he was too deep in his performance. He knows he could be rude, but says he was never intentionally cruel and called his co-star a sweet guy. Tyrese has publicly said he never wants to work with James again. Debbie Reynolds versus Gene Kelley. One of the only things as dangerous as a method actor is a perfectionist. Gene Kelley was one of the worst. He hit it with choreographer Donald O'Connor and said,
Donald did a whole number because he's the choreographer. And he puts these things together because actually Donald taught me how to dance. And Singing in the Rain, I didn't dance. Donald taught me.
Oh, thank you.
She had a different relationship with her more exacting choreographer, Gene Kelley. His widow, Patricia Ward, said her husband always choreographed scenes to her capabilities and that she always worked as hard as she could. It still took 15 hours to get the 4-minute routine to Good Morning. Her feet were bleeding by the end and she could barely move. An assistant carried her to bed and doctors put her on bed rest. All that work, and he still used the first take. Gene also allegedly made unwanted advances towards Debbie during a kissing scene. He had his tongue down her throat, and as she said, quote, "It was the early 1950s, and I was an innocent kid who'd never been French kissed. It felt like an assault. I was stunned that this 39-year-old man would do this to me." The whole experience was so overwhelming that co-star Fred Astaire found her crying under a piano. He comforted her, but said she was simply going through the pain of learning to dance. He noted that if you're not sweating, you're not doing it right. Gene later admitted he might have been a bit harsh on her and was surprised she continued to speak to him. Debbie was grateful for his criticisms because they made her a better performer. Meryl Streep versus Dustin Hoffman. The plot of Kramer versus Kramer may have hit a bit too close to Dustin Hoffman at the time. He was going through his own painful divorce, and playing a man splitting up with his wife hit a raw nerve. It was also a difficult time for Meryl. She had recently lost her boyfriend, John Cazale, to cancer. Meryl remembers how Dustin tended to take his emotions out on her. The script required them to pull for deep emotions, but he once tried to stir her up by bringing up her boyfriend. He would also goad her with details about her personal life. The most famous scene from the movie is where the divorcing couple argues over their son at a restaurant. Dustin had said he'd only break the glass, but he threw it against the wall, leading to Meryl's genuinely shocked reaction. She yelled at him after that with shards in her hair. The most severe moment can actually be seen in the film. She could have delivered anything to anybody at any time. Meryl has also forgiven Dustin. She admits his behavior was overstepping, but hopes that problems like that can be fixed, not only as individual moments, but also as systemic issues. Now it's time to hear from you. What was the most surprising feud to hear about? Let us know in the comments section below.